So how did you start getting into like screenwriting, like in videography and like all that stuff as to what you're doing now, with working with different artists and making music videos and stuff? Like when did you start to get into that really?
Um, so video work, mostly like my freshman year of college. Did shot my first music video then, and
So
then did
recently.
yeah,
Yeah.
like 3 years ago, and from there, I mean, it just became a matter of I want to in the future write and direct films, so this just kind of seemed like an obvious first step on that path. And I just wanted to be able to kind of create like a space where me and my friends could really pursue projects that we'd like to do and go about like. So right now we just mostly have the music videos and some interviews out, but there's a lot more stuff coming that, yeah.
I just watched your the Adventures with Cash Page video, which is so awesome. How did you get in touch with like Cash and like how did that kind of all come together, that video, or even like meeting up with her and like hanging out with her?
Cash and I became friends. I'd say like Rolling Loud 2019,
Okay.
and we met through a mutual friend, and then her and I just kind of clicked, and we just kind of became like boys, and just always checking in on each other, being like Happy New Year, blah blah, all this stuff. Like hope you're well, and uh, we had plans to do a video, and then some stuff with the label that they just weren't. They were waiting for to see more stuff from me, and then one night she texted me at like it was like 11:30, and she was like, "Yo, gang, like it's the last minute notice, but tomorrow morning, like I want to go to Big Bear. I want to know if you want to like come, get you everything for the trip and everything." And I was like, "Yeah." So I went, and then I slept in like her guest bedroom, brought my VHS, and then the next morning we're off. My brother actually signed to SSG,
Okay.
and they were looking for like, since it was like one of his basically his first video, um, they wanted someone that like you know equal to him and like just starting to do these things really, so that it has that sort of feel. So then they trusted me with that, and then it turned out well. And then Autumn, him and I met from. I just reached out to him because my boy put me onto his music, and I reached out and I was like, hey, like loving music, blah blah. If you're ever in LA and need a video, and he was like, I'm actually coming to LA this week, and we in like 3 days planned and then did that video. We actually have doing a no one really knows about this yet. Video for off Uno's new project. Uno the activist.
Yes, I love him.
I won't say which song yet, but the
Keep it on
video
the low.
it like surrounds him kind of going into video games, and so this is going to be the first one that's like we're going to be on a green screen set and then doing like a lot more of that visual effects meshed with like some cool lens choices and everything.
That's
That
sick.
I'm very excited for. As far as picking like what has been the favorite so far, it's hard because what's really nice about every time that we do the videos, and because it's like all my friends and I doing it, that the artists and us become like friends. Like SSG then got added to our basketball group chat. Autumn, we ended up hanging out till like 4 a.m. like after the shoot had already ended. It's just like, yeah, it's just hard because they all just become friends.
Getting into like no soap, how would you describe like the idea behind it, how it came about, and kind of what like your goal is with the you can call I guess you can call it like a brand, but like kind of this creative like directive, kind of like this collective. Yeah, it's the best way, like a collective.
Um, so the way I came up with it was my freshman year. I was laying in my friend's room, eyes closed, just kind of thinking of life, and I'm like, oh, what do I do? I'm in school right now, but I want to take the steps to start going towards my future. And I was like, I have to find some way to get into film and do everything, and I just need to start working. And I opened my eyes, and my friend had this giant sign in his room that said "No Soap Radio." and he went to like a military high school. So it's like a term that means like it's like a joke that everyone is in on except for one person. And I thought that was like genius. And I was like, "Yo, do you mind if I run with this?" And he was like, "Yes, like go ahead." And then from there, it started off as like playlists while I planned for the first couple months. I was like, I just want people to start getting the idea in their head and this logo in their head, and then just structuring everything that was to come. And yeah, it was just like a means to be able to build my skill set for the future. And then as well as I have a friend that's a manager and stuff like that, just getting everyone in the positions that they want to be in.
When did the submission Saturdays come about?
So originally it wasn't a Saturday. I think we used to do the lives on like a Wednesday, and it was like at the beginning of quarantine, everyone started doing lives.
Yeah.
And, it was just me and Luke, and we used to just like have people send stuff in, and we just played off the speakers. And then we kind of stopped when we were doing all the more video and more productions came about. And then we were like, all right, we need something in the meantime. And it was just like the idea of, I felt like it wasn't fair for us to be able to work with so many people and do so much stuff if we weren't able to then give that same platform to other people to be able to show off their creative stuff. So one of my favorite graphic novels growing up is called The Transmetropolitan. It's like DC Vertigo comics. When DC wasn't allowed to do like super graphic stuff, they created another branch. And in The Transmetropolitan, that three-eyed smiley is seen like all throughout. It's kind of like a little Easter egg. But what I did was, so when I started, I was like, oh, okay, I need a logo. So I sent it to one of my friends, and I was like, can you make an altered version of this, make the eyes smaller, make the, all the changes.
But like, what's next for No Soap, and like, what are you guys planning on? Like, whether it's like doing more interviews, or like, what's the path that you think you're gonna take with the brand?
I think music videos are always going to be in rotation. This year we have a couple docu-series planned. It's like 2 different series, and they're each going to be like 2 to 3 episodes. So the docu-series coming, more interviews, a lot more interviews. And finally this year we're going to start to do the short films, which I was just kind of waiting till we had like a little bit better of a platform.
Are you the only one? Does like Luke and stuff, do they do cinematography and video, or is that mostly you? Or like, do you guys have different roles?
We kind of have different roles, but then also everyone kind of helps out. I direct and kind of just do the treatments for all the videos. We have 2 graphic designers, who one is also an animator, and the other one does a lot of like visual effects stuff and is also a really good editor. We have another editor besides that. Then we have a cinematographer. And yeah.
Who are like your favorite artists that, like, just a personal question, that like you see coming up, or even like mainstream artists?
So someone that I think is going to have a really big 2021 is Young Nudie. I've been listening to Nudie since like 2016, and it's going to be frustrating to see that people that love DaBaby are going to be listening to Young Nudie, but I mean, it's his time. SSG and Autumn and Sofego and Pasta Floco are just like, all those guys are just coming up, and it's so crazy. There's also this kid Wolffacejoey from New York. It's really fiery. He has a song called Molly. What else? I'm trying to think of what I've been listening to. Yeah, I don't know. There's just even though music's so saturated today, it's just also to see that there's also so many talented individuals.
What advice do you have for like people like me, or just like creatives, or people that you feel like, people like with the submission Saturdays who are submitting, like, what advice do you have for any creatives?
The 2 things is always like, even if you feel so down on yourself and you're like, oh, because I've been in those times where I'm like, oh, like, what am I doing? Like, am I doing everything wrong? But it's really about being persistent and working hard and learning as much as you can about your craft, because if you do those 3 things, you literally can't go wrong.